And action. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of All or None According to Jack, with your host, Jack Toledano. I am back at my studio, my home recording studio. As it turns out, I have the license for Zoom here, but not on my remote when I'm off on my remote, so another lesson learned. But in any event, what we're here to talk about this evening. So it's now been a day since I went to visit the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. Uh, Basically, it's a museum out in Stony Brook, Long Island, about, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour from my house, but really cool place up on the North Shore in Suffolk County. What else can I say about it? It's mainly two big rooms full of chock full of exhibits. So probably take you, I don't know. Let me think. I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours to go through, peruse through the whole thing, including the small gift shop. I think it cost me like 22 and change, which is, reasonable. I mean, I stand by their mission. I really like what they're doing, promoting uh, the bygone era of great music on, played at clubs on Long Island, where a lot of great artists cut their teeth playing the clubs of Long Island, and eventually made it big. We're going to talk about some of those. And you know what? Let us go to the PowerPoint. Basically, it's a yeah. I put a shot. No, not a screenshot. I put a the hell is it called? I put a slideshow together. The brain freeze. And here we go. So the Long Island. Oh, what the heck happened? Let's try that again. Let's share. There we go. Oh, this is my night for blunders. All right. To the slideshow. So as you walk in the door, you're greeted by this wall of many famous faces. I don't know if you can really see it. You got Tony Bennett, Gene Simmons. This is an outfit by Dee Snider. We'll get to some of these others. That Barbara Streisand, I believe. Uh, they uh, they lampooned her on South Park, calling her Mecca Streisand, but that's an episode of at another time. Okay, so I've been accused of looking like this guy, better known as Peter Criss of Kiss, the drummer. We'll talk about this album, a little bit later. Um, I'm just going to go, round in random order to some of these exhibits that I've seen. You got the Shangri-Las from Queens, New York, uh, with the songs "Leader of the Pack," "Remember Walking in the Sand," covered by Aerosmith. These guys also from, I think, Forest Hills, Queens, New York, Simon and Garfunkel. Amazing folk duo in the 60s. Of course, there's Joan Jett. I saw her in a free concert down in Merritt, New York, right when this album was came out. I Love Rock and Roll. Imagine that. She hit it big and gave a free concert. Cool stuff. Cousin Brucey Morrow. He's a famous disc jockey with, I believe, CBS FM 101.1 FM, which back in the day, they played 50s, 60s. Would you believe they play 80s and beyond now? So now 80s are considered oldies. God damn. Of course, there was Debbie Gibson, She hit it big for a couple of years in the early 90s. Um, what was it? Late 80s, early 90s, string of a few hits and then time catches up with you. What can I say? And then, of course, we just lost the great Tony Bennett. He had that concert with Lady Gaga. I don't think she was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I think she's from Staten Island. On to the next slide. So we'll talk about this a little bit later, but these are some banners hanging on the wall. We're also going to talk about some of um, the famous rock clubs on Long Island. You had Hammerheads out east, somewhere out east. L'Amour's in Brooklyn, place where I haven't seen too many shows there, but I did see Symphony X twice. Amazing, amazing freaking shows. Um, a little more of the wall as you walked in. The Ramones, Billy Joel, Neil Diamond, Cyndi Lauper. I think that's Count Basie. I I think so. We'll get to some more of those. Okay, as you walk in to the right of the main desk where you pay and they answer questions for you. There's a wall of all record albums. You might not be able to see them all. I think you can see Bat Out of Hell right there. Okay, so got the Zebra, the Ramones, the Shangri-Las. It's so funny that Peter Criss has the album Blow right next to his. Uh, Suffice it to say, I didn't think his album was very good. Out of the foursome of Kiss, I thought his was the least best. Got Neil Diamond, Joan Jett, Tony Bennett. You got Blue Oyster Cult, Debbie Gibson with her album Electric Youth, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Stay Hungry, Twisted Sister. We will talk more about them later. Paul Stanley, grew up in Queens, I believe. Billy Joel, grew up out here by me. Count Basie, I think he was from Astoria, Queens. Blue Oyster Cult. Let's move on. These are some of the famous rock clubs and concert halls. Of course, there was the OBI, otherwise known as Oak Beach Inn. So if you're driving along Ocean Parkway down on Long Island, you're going from Jones Beach and you're heading east to go to Robert Moses State Park. About 2/3 of the way to Robert Moses would be the OBI or the Oak Beach Inn, which was a great place. But it ended up closing under a cloud of mystery. I think he was getting screwed in taxes by the county. Damn shame. The place is now a parking lot, just a place a rest area, or without any concessions or anything. Damn shame. Out overlooking the bay onto Fire Island and Robert Moses. Over the bay. But they do occasionally have car shows there now. This is something I never knew. So Jones Beach Theater, which is about a 15-minute drive south of where I live. What you see here is like a water show, and then there's the stage. This water show, or this channel here, is now the orchestra section. So they built an orchestra section. Then they built a tier system. So now it holds, I don't know, 15, 20,000. But this was way back in the day, probably for the 70s, I believe. Of course, Malibu Club. It was a nightclub. It was down between Point Lookout Beach, which is the town beach where I live, Um, then there's Nickerson Beach and Lido Beach. So I believe it's right by Lido Beach, I think. But now, again, shadow of its former self. It's more of a the heck is it? It's more of a family place to go. Kind of like just a family atmosphere with few restaurants and sushi bar and whatnot. Then there's, of course, my father's place. This was a place in Roslyn, Long Island, up on the North Shore of Nassau County. Now, the thing to note is that so now I work from home, but my home office is right near there in Port Washington, New York. So I've gone, when I was full time going into the office, I would venture into Roslyn to go to lunch. And my father's place, which is now a bakery, is like right down the road from where I'd go to eat on occasion. Sad. That must have been a great place. I wish I had gone there. I know Billy Joel played there way back in the day. I've heard the Stones played there back in the day. Uh, Aerosmith, all quiet gigs. Um, and then there's Speaks, another place. I do remember all these places mentioned on the radio, listening to either WLAR or BAB. Good stuff. Okay, so let's move on. These are just some pictures. Uh, a lot of photos, a lot of memorabilia, record albums. You got Billy Joel's first album, Stay Hungry, Twisted Sister, the three Kiss solo albums. Now, one of the guys walking around who was extremely helpful to me, his name was Dan, answered a lot of questions for me. Um, we were talking. The only reason Ace Frehley isn't there is because Ace grew up in the Bronx, so he was not inducted. But we both were in agreement that he had the best solo album of the four. So, looking around, you got Cyndi Lauper, who's from Queens, Joan Jett, who I don't think she was from Long Island, but made it on Long Island. Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons. Here's a guy who wasn't really talked about much, Eddie Money, who um, he was went to high school a couple towns over from where I am, here on in the middle of Long Island. Joey Ramone from the Ramones. Uh, that's again Dee Snider, Cyndi Lauper again. Here's Cyndi with Hulk Hogan and what's his name, Mr. T. She was very big into helping WWE go big with the rock and wrestling connection. Here's Joan Jett again. Paul Stanley mugging to the crowd. This is Joan Jett's hitting it big with a platinum record award for a million in sales, given to her by yet another Long Island DJ, Dennis McNamara, NEW, I believe. Here's something. So this is so most people who were born in the 70s, 80s, or even 90s, this band is before their time, talking about the Tokens, but this was actually brought back into their lives by the Lion King, which prominently featured the song "The Lion Sleeps Tonight. We are away." Of course, I can't do it as good as they can. Famous song. I believe they were from Queens as well. Okay, a little homage to Billy Joel. I wish there was more of his stuff, but I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. Yep. Move that out of the way. Tour shirt, sweatshirt, some other items. I think his harmonica that he played. What that's Piano Man with. There we go. Put that back. Hit save again. Here's some members of his band that were inducted: Doug Stegmeyer, Russell Javers, Richie Canada. These are three of his famous albums: Turnstiles, 52nd Street, Glass Houses, of course, Piano Man, Billy Joel. There's Blue Oyster Cult. I think this album is called Buyer of Unknown Origin. Yep, Buyer of Unknown Origin. That's a little display that was in the music store, and you'll see was their award for being inducted into the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. That's me mugging for the camera with Blue Oyster Cult in the background. Of course, they played at Stony Brook. They used to go by the name Soft White Underbelly. The Ramones, taking a picture in the project of Forest Hills, New York. Joey Ramone. If you saw the introductory video that I took, which is about a minute and a half, you saw me hanging out by this wall, not showing the Ramones, but a whole bunch of different bands. The only time I saw the Ramones was so before I went to New Paltz, met Mr. Pardo. I went to Nassau Community College, affectionately known as Turnpike Tech. And they played a free concert during orientation day, first day of the semester. I thought it was the coolest thing. Of course, he was as white as a ghost. Too funny. Twisted Sister, a lot of stuff. They figured very prominently. One of their concert advertisements, the album Stay Hungry, the bass drum, or rather a floor tom-tom, J.J. French's guitar, a drum head, some picks that you might be able to see. Again, Dee Snider, and then in the gift shop, a onesie that says, play on the song I Wanna Rock. I wanna walk. Do, 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 do. Incidentally, if you're on the second floor, there's videos playing constantly. There's a kind of a little theater you can sit in. Very cool. They actually played the video on MTV of I Wanna Rock, and of course it featured Douglas C. Niedermeyer, Sergeant at Arms, asshole at arms, I should say. Of course, he got the shit beaten out of him in two videos by Twisted Sister, but I guess he must have really enjoyed being paid to be in a video with Twisted Sister, but I got a nice chuckle out of it. Harry Chapin. So here's a story. So near us is the Eisenhower Park. It is a park, Eisenhower Park. It's a county park. And Harry Chapin would play a lot of free concerts there. And we were all, my family and I were all set to go see him. We just had to drop our car off at a service station. And one of the service station attendees is like, "Oh, you can't go see him. News just broke that he passed away he died in an accident on the LIE, Long Island Expressway. Sad, sad, sad." Um, my wife Susan and I did go see a memorial concert for him where they dedicated the amphitheater at Eisenhower Park to him. Call it the Harry Chapin Amphitheater. Very cool place. Ironically, this concert just an ordinary concert when he was alive. Uh, this concert happened to fall on my birthday, June 5th. One of his albums, class of 2006. So one thing he does, he has the Harry Chapin food bank called Long Island Cares, Inc. So my lodge, the Odd Couple, every year around Christmas time, we go to a designated supermarket and we collect for this Long Island Cares pantry. It is the greatest thing. So if you're not on Long Island, but wherever you are, in the spirit of giving, during the holiday season, please be generous. Give some non-perishables. We appreciate it. Vanilla fudge. So vanilla fudge, they played at Pete Pardo's Sea of Tranquility Fest last year, and they did not bring up. They had a Hammond organ, but they, uh, through a mishap, they ended up having the whole event upstairs because the PA got blown downstairs. So they ended up not being able to use their, regular Hammond organ. This one was donated by them, by the way. Uh, they ended up using, an electric Hammond, or smaller Hammond organ with the what do they call it? The with the feeds, to make it sound, or the midis or the feeds to make it sound like a actual Hammond organ. Another time, I back in 2005, I saw them at something called the Strange Days Fest down at Jones Beach. After the show, the guitar player, I don't remember his name, he was out mingling with the crowd, and I went to say hello to him, and he was kind of a little aloof, and he kind of blew me off. And then I went to hand him a card. I was writing for Sea of Tranquility at the time. So he sees the card, and boy, did his mood change. Oh, hi, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. Blah, 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 blah. Unreal. Had to mention that. So these are some others that, so if you saw that video, that 1.5 minute video, I was stationed by this wall with all these different, you know, talking about all these bands. Zebra played on Long Island all the time, and Hammerheads, The Lovin' Spoonful, Hot Town, Summer in the City, Back of My Neck Getting Dirt and Gritty. Great band. Do you believe in magic? Of course, you got the Runaways, Joan Jett, Lita Ford, uh, Sherry Curry. They made it big in Japan, but I know Lita Ford and of course Joan Jett made it big on their own back in the States after the Runaways. Of course, the Good Rats, they played a lot on Long Island. The Young Rascals, another some. Not sure where they're from, but a great band from the late 60s, early 70s in their own right. I think Dream Theater kind of missed the boat, uh, playing on Long Island in its heyday, but you know what? These guys hit their stride and they made their mark as, probably the best prog metal band on earth. And, they opened the door for bands like Fate's Warning and my beloved Symphony X. I did see them in a double concert with uh, Gigantor. They headlined with Megadeth. That was a really nice show down at Jones Beach. It was all day event. Cool shit, man. Okay, next. So this was that um, those advertisements that you saw earlier. This is a makeshift stage. I don't know if they use it. There's another stage, potential stage upstairs, but you can see it a little better. Zebra's stage set, the vanilla fudge organ, uh, and then this is the drum set by Blue Oyster Cult, Albert Bouchard. These are just some miscellaneous little keepsakes that they had there. They had a jukebox with all Long Island bands. This Victrola, which I love. I think this is a Tony Award. And then, of course, there's the MTV Astronaut. Last but not least, this is the actual building. It's funny. So you go to Stony Brook, and then it's like in the back of a little shopping center, with some posh shops and restaurants and whatnot. So you would have thought that the Hall of Fame would be there, but supposedly it's caught on. I know a little down the road there's the post office, and what happens is every hour on the hour there's an eagle where its wings flap. Back when I was in third grade, we went on a trip to Stony Brook just to see, because you had the Washington Spy Trail, and there was a Long Island museum with some old carriages and old wigwam, and the natives that used to live in the area. Uh, I remember. So after our visit to Stony Brook, they took us to Dairy Queen to get an ice cream, and we were told you can only get vanilla or chocolate. So all I did, third grade, 8-year old, I innocently asked for a vanilla cone with a cherry on it. So what does the woman do? She takes my cone, dips it into uh, this red stuff, and it turned out to be a cherry bonnet. My teacher sees this and she fucking wigs out. I told you to only get vanilla. Go stand over there. Blah, blah, blah. Memories. So, anyway, now that I digress, so in my hand here, and Dan, I thank Dan for taking this picture. This is the award that they gave out, and this they gave to Paul Stanley. I don't know if he was there to accept it. I'm covering, Stanley, but whatever. But nice and heavy. What a cool award. Of course, he asked me not to drop it. I'm like, you think I want to have to pay to replace this thing? But if I had a suggestion for the guys, what they should do is they should make a small model replica of this that they could sell in their gift shop. I would have definitely bought one. Instead, I got one of those winter beanies, pullover beanies with the Long Island, with this Long Island Music and Entertainment logo. But so that's that. I'll stop sharing. I'm back. Alrighty then. So I'm gonna say goodnight. It's been a lot of fun. Um, Again, if you happen to be heading out to the Hamptons, or you happen to be heading to the North Fork to go do a wine tour, and you have some time to kill on the way out there, check it out. I think it's like exit 58 on the LIE. I also stopped by Lake Ronkonkoma, which is pretty cool. One of the only freshwater lakes left on Long Island. Um, so that's that. A little bit about my hometown. I hope you enjoyed it. Uh, they're not assholes like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame out in Cleveland, very pretentious and, elitist. These guys are real. They volunteer there. Very nice guys. They walk around, you know, really help you, give you some good suggestions of things to see and whatnot. I also saw a 7-minute presentation on the making of the Hall of Fame itself, and Dee Snider was very prominent in it, and helping with the creation, from what I understand. So, Jack Toledano, all or not, according to Jack. Good night, all.